Trust in Allah and charge forward!
Allahu Akbar!
Let's see if your prophet protects his caravan now. Burn it all!
I swear a personal oath to execute the man I call the Dog of Kerak. Move quickly! Secure the high ground on the far bank! Hold the line!
Allahu Akbar!
A young scholar, more comfortable with poetry than a sword, was thrust onto the throne of a dying empire. Surrounded by enemies on all sides, his own allies saw him as an outsider. But from the chaos of Cairo to the deserts of Syria, he would perform the impossible, unite a fractured world. This is the story of how a courtier became a king and forged the weapon that would shake the foundations of the Holy Land. Jerusalem, 1174. The holy city groaned under the heel of the Crusader Kingdom. To the east and south, the Muslim world was a shattered mirror, a collection of warring emirs and atabegs, each ruling their own fragment, jealous and weak. In the city of Tikrit, on the banks of the Tigris, a boy was born to a Kurdish family in service to a powerful Turkic ruler. His name, Yusuf ibn Ayyub, 1137, Tikrit. Najm ad-Din Ayyub, governor of the fortress, is ordered to give up his post. He leaves with his family, including his newborn son, Yusuf. The city gates close behind them. The future begins with a loss.
Feint to the left, then thrust. Precision, not just speed. Perfect. Zengi himself couldn't do better.
The Ayyub family finds favor in the court of Imad ad-Din Zengi, the fierce ruler of Mosul. Here, young Yusuf grows up learning the Quran, poetry, and most importantly, the art of war under his uncle, the formidable general Shirkuh. After Zengi's death, his noble son, Nur ad-Din, takes power. He is pious, just, and dreams of jihad to unite Islam against the Crusaders. He notices the intelligent, devout young officer in his ranks, Yusuf, son of Ayyub.
But the interpretation here suggests mercy must temper justice.
A difficult balance, my friend.
Saladin grew not as a fierce soldier, but as a shrewd and learned courtier in the court of Nur ad-Din, the powerful Turkish ruler of Syria. He studied poetry, theology, and law, earning a reputation for piety, intelligence, and surprising modesty. His calm demeanor. He is a man of thought, being groomed in a world of violence. 1163, the Fatimid Caliphate in Cairo is collapsing, torn by internal revolt. Both the Crusader king Amalric I and Nur ad-Din see a chance to control this wealthy prize. Nur ad-Din sends his best weapon, Shirkuh, and with him he sends his most promising pupil.
Move quickly! Secure the high ground on the far bank! Hold the line!
Saladin gets his first taste of independent command, leading the vanguard. He proves himself not just brave, but clever, securing key positions. But the campaign ends in a stalemate. The Crusaders and Muslims withdraw, watching each other.
Hold the line! Turn around, men!
To me! Form the rear guard! We stand here against them!
1167. They return. At the Battle of al-Babein, Shirkuh's army is nearly surrounded by Crusaders and Egyptians. Saladin's tactical rearguard action saves the army from destruction, earning him legendary status among the troops.
Cairo is mine! Egypt belongs to the strong.
Through shrewd politics, Shirkuh outmaneuvers everyone. He enters Cairo as a savior and is appointed Grand Vizier, ruler of Egypt in all but name. But his triumph is short-lived. 2 months later, he dies suddenly after a feast. March 1169. To everyone's surprise, including his own, the young 31-year-old Saladin is chosen by the Fatimid Caliph and the army to succeed his uncle. He is thrust into the snake pit of Egyptian politics, a Sunni Kurd ruling a Shia kingdom. Saladin sits alone on his divan at night. a single candle illuminating maps and letters from 3 different fronts. Saladin was a Sunni Muslim ruler for a Shia caliph, answerable to Nur ad-Din in Syria and surrounded by hostile Fatimid lords and crusaders at the gates. One misstep meant death, the immense weight on his shoulders. He is learning statecraft through sheer survival.
A just reward for your loyalty. May Allah bless you.
With quiet, relentless strategy, Saladin began replacing the Fatimid army with his own loyal Kurdish-led forces. He used patronage and persuasion as skillfully as he used military pressure. Saladin personally paying his new Mamluks, slave soldiers, earning their fierce loyalty with fairness. His men look at him not with fear, but with growing respect. He is building a foundation.
Alhamdulillah wassalatu wassalamu ala rasulillah. اللهم انصر عبدك أبا جعفر أحمد أمير المؤمنين الخليفة العباسي في بغداد.
In 1171, upon the caliph's death, Saladin made his boldest play. He abolished the 2-century-old Fatimid caliphate. The call to prayer in Cairo was changed. Egypt was now officially Sunni, and its sole ruler was Saladin. This move alarmed Nur ad-Din. Saladin was no longer just his deputy, he was a rival sovereign. Nur ad-Din began planning to come to Egypt and bring his ambitious vassal to heel. Fate intervened. In 1174, Nur ad-Din died suddenly of illness. The Muslim world held its breath. Syria was thrown into chaos, with his young son as a puppet. The news reaches Saladin. He is visibly shaken, mourning the loss of a great leader. Saladin in prayer. Is this a tragedy or a terrible opportunity from God? Syria splinters. Nur ad-Din's heir is a child. Petty warlords and crusaders scramble for power. From Cairo, Saladin watches. He sees not chaos, but destiny. The dream of uniting Islam against the Crusaders now rests on his shoulders. Claiming to protect Nur ad-Din's heir, Saladin marched from Egypt with a small elite army. His goal, to unite Syria with Egypt, creating a single powerful ring around the Crusader states. The determination on his face. He is risking everything on speed and legitimacy. Saladin enters Damascus not as a conqueror, but as a solemn heir, greeted by cheering crowds. The people of Damascus, remembering his just reputation and weary of chaos, open the gates to him. The humble piety he projects, bowing his head in thanks.
I speak of unity. Our jihad is not conquest, but liberation for all.
We must stand together.
The next decade is a masterclass in strategic politics. Saladin uses a mix of dazzling military campaigns, shrewd marriages, and generous treaties to bring Aleppo, Mosul, and all of Syria under his banner. He fights fellow Muslims to unite them for a greater war.
Do not harm these orchards. Our war is with the rulers, not the civilians. Show restraint, as the Prophet commanded.
The key was Aleppo, held by Nur ad-Din's formidable son and his guardians. Saladin besieged it, but this was a political siege. He showed restraint, proving he was not a tyrant. Saladin's camp outside Aleppo. He forbids the cutting of orchards for siege works, earning the people's grudging respect. His soldiers' confusion at his mercy. He is teaching them a new way of war. After complex maneuvers, Aleppo's regent agreed to a deal. Saladin would be the protector. In 1176 he entered the city not as a conqueror, but as the recognized ruler of Syria and Egypt. The ring was closed. Saladin riding peacefully into Aleppo, greeted by cautious crowds. The banners of Egypt and Syria fly together. A moment of profound solemnity for Saladin. The mission is just beginning. The Crusader states, led by the leper king Baldwin IV, are a constant threat. Despite his illness, Baldwin is a brilliant opponent. At the Battle of Montgizard, he inflicts a rare bloody defeat on Saladin, the shame and fury of defeat. This loss teaches him to never underestimate his enemy. Baldwin's death plunges the kingdom into a succession crisis. The competent but cautious Raymond of Tripoli is sidelined. The throne falls to the weak King Guy of Lusignan, manipulated by the reckless Raynald of Châtillon. Saladin, receiving the intelligence report. He knows Raynald's recklessness will be his opportunity. Not all enemies used armies. The Order of Assassins, fearing his power, infiltrated his camp. One night, assassins struck, killing his trusted guard. Saladin awoke to a dagger pinned to his pillow. The moonlit tent. Saladin finds the dagger with a threatening note. His guard lies dead outside. Pure terror, then steel resolve. His greatest threat is unseen.
Allah is my protector. These daggers are useless against his will. Sheathe them.
A legendary meeting in a neutral tent. Saladin, unarmed, faces the shadowy master of the assassins. Instead of launching a futile war on their mountain fortresses, Saladin did the unexpected. He confronted their leader, the Old Man of the Mountain. What was said is legend, but the result was a truce. The daggers vanished. Saladin's courage is not just in battle, but in walking unarmed into the lion's den. For a decade, Saladin solidified his realm. He built schools, repaired fortifications, fostered trade, and created a stable, just administration. He was preparing the engine for a long war. Saladin reviewing plans for a new aqueduct. His weapon is a prosperous, united state.
Let's see if your prophet protects his caravan now. Burn it all! Do not do this!
I swear a personal oath to execute the man I call the Dog of Kerak.
From his fortress of Kerak, Raynald raids the holy caravan routes, breaking truces and insulting the prophet. Saladin swears a personal oath to execute the man he calls the Dog of Kerak. Raynald's men throwing captives from the walls. Saladin in his tent makes a solemn vow before his emirs. 1187. After Raynald seizes a huge caravan and slaughters its pilgrims, Saladin's patience ends. He calls for a full jihad. From Egypt, Syria and Mesopotamia, armies answer. For the first time in living memory, the Muslim world is united under one commander. Vast, endless rows of tents outside Damascus. Cavalry from every region rides under the Ayyubid banner. Saladin surveying his life's work. A unified army. The instrument of his destiny is ready.
We will not attack Jerusalem. We will lay a trap here, at the horns of Hattin, where their cavalry charge will become their weakness.
Saladin reveals his strategy. He will not attack the mighty fortress of Jerusalem. He will lay a trap to lure the entire Crusader army into the open, onto ground of his choosing, where their greatest strength, the heavy cavalry charge, will become their weakness. Saladin draws a circle on a map around a place called the Horns of Hattin. The absolute clarity and confidence of a master strategist. Saladin marches his massive army to besiege Tiberias, a town on the Sea of Galilee. It is not a vital target, but its lady is the wife of Count Raymond, creating a personal and political crisis the Crusaders cannot ignore. Muslim troops swarm the small town. Smoke rises over the lake. Saladin watching from a hill, waiting for the enemy to take the bait.
We cannot march in this heat, my lord. The army will perish.
This is cowardice. He seeks to betray us.
We march. Prepare the men.
In Jerusalem, King Guy holds council. Raymond, who knows the land, begs him not to march in the summer heat. Raynald accuses Raymond of cowardice and treason. The hot-headed faction wins. A furious, divisive war council. Guy, weak-willed, gives the order to march. July 3rd, 1187. The Crusader army, 20,000 strong, leaves its only water source at Safaria. They march east toward Tiberias into a barren plateau. The temperature soars.
Shields up! Close the gaps! We must reach the springs by nightfall. Move forward, quickly!
Saladin's light cavalry appears, harassing the column, shooting arrows, slowing them to a crawl. Every spring they pass is fouled or guarded. The Crusaders make less than 6 miles the first day. Muslim horse archers dart in, fire and retreat. The Frankish column is in disarray. King Guy's growing panic as his army is picked apart. The Crusaders camp on a waterless hill. Saladin's men surround them. In the dark, they light brush fires, the smoke and cries of Allahu Akbar drifting into the Christian camp, sapping their spirit. Men and horses mad with thirst.
Trust in Allah and charge forward!
At dawn, Saladin gives the order. His fresh, well-watered troops move in for the final act. The Crusaders, bleary-eyed and dehydrated, form their battle lines around the True Cross for one last, desperate stand. 2 armies face each other on the slopes of the Twin Hills. The Muslim line is vast and orderly.
Hold the line! Send the reserves to the right flank! Do not let them pass!
The Frankish knights make a heroic, furious charge towards Saladin's position, trying to kill the Sultan and end the battle. They almost break through, but Saladin's reserves hold the line. The charge is swallowed up. A chaotic, brutal melee around Saladin's command post. His personal guard fights desperately. Saladin, calm amidst the storm, directing the battle.
It is lost! We are undone! Victory! Allahu Akbar!
The Crusader infantry, abandoned by their mounted knights and dying of thirst, breaks. The bishop carrying the True Cross is cut down. The sacred relic falls into the dust. A great cry of despair goes up from the Christian ranks. The holy relic tumbling to the ground, seized by Muslim soldiers, the moment of absolute victory and absolute defeat on the faces of both sides.
I have given you water, King. That courtesy is for rulers. But this man, this truce breaker, deserves nothing but the sword.
The battle ends. The entire Crusader army is captured or slain. King Guy and Raynald of Chatillon are brought before Saladin's tent. Saladin offers the king a cup of iced water, a sign of mercy. Guy drinks. The 2 captive kings kneel in the dust. Saladin sits before them, victorious. Saladin's eyes lock on Raynald. The personal oath is about to be fulfilled. The battlefield is won. The army of Jerusalem lies broken, and the man who broke every oath now kneels before the Sultan. For Saladin, this was more than a victory. It was the fulfillment of a vow. But the true test was yet to come. Part 2 is where history turns. With the Crusader Kingdom defenseless, Saladin marches on its heart, Jerusalem. Inside the holy city, fear and fanaticism grip its defenders. A brutal siege begins. Will Saladin take vengeance for the blood spilled a century before, or will he offer a mercy that changes the world forever? The fate of Jerusalem is in his hands. Don't miss the final chapter.